My MA photography project at the University of Falmouth is going to be devoted to ecosystem services. The concept of ecosystem services is extremely fashionable in the environmental science and sustainability world these days. At the same time, there is a great danger that narrow, monetary ways to assess value of ecosystems will lead to further conflicts, disparities between the rich and the poor, exclusion, and simply lack of sense. Working for IUCN and the United Nations, I have proposed to use an alternative set of tools based on multi-criteria decision aid to assess the value of ecosystems. Such approach could treat the complexity of ecosystem as they are without necessarily adding the birds to the bees as it is attempted in a narrow neoclassical economic framework. The photographic project I proposed for the MA photography at Falmouth presents the diversity of ecosystem services from the visual point of view, emphasizing the fragile beauty of nature, something money can't buy. The European Environment Agency classifies ecosystem services and distinguishes 36 different types. They are grouped into three major sections: provisioning or economic services, regulating and maintenance or ecological services, and cultural or social services. Ecosystems support life on this planet, regulating water cycles, generating oxygen, capturing CO2, absorbing dust, purifying water, and processing organic waste. Ecosystems need to be restored and preserved for other reasons than economic. Otherwise, we will be condemned to the race to the bottom, where only the extremely rich could enjoy the whole diversity of the natural world. It should be emphasized that according to the Oxfam report, the richest 62 people on the planet are as wealthy as half of the world's population. Moreover, using money as a measuring rod would reduce the complexity of the feedback loops between plants, pollinators, birds, animals, biogeochemical cycles to a simple additive figure featured on corporate balance sheets. There's a danger that such assessments could be used as estimates of simply court damage fees. The whole idea of limitless substitutability of different types of ecosystem services implied or carefully hidden by the linear aggregation of economic values will lead to disastrous decisions with non-reversible consequences. Mitigation banking in this context is used as a tool to operationalize the evaluation. The concept of mitigation banking assumes that one could destroy an ecosystem in one place and then compensate by creating it in another, paving the way for corporations to explore highly sensitive, tropical, and Arctic regions with potentially irreplaceable ecosystems. The limiting nature of this concept completely erodes the true meaning of the concept of value, which in many languages means multiple things. Something is valuable because it's beautiful, because it's rare, because it performs a unique function, because it is complex, because it affects multiple senses, because it's colorful, because it creates unusual quality of light, because of the soundscape, because without it we could not exist, and not because it's so expensive. I have been evaluating my photographic practice, exploring the work I have undertaken over the years within my MA photography course at Falmouth, reflecting on the theoretical literature on landscape and environmental photography. It turned out that most of my photographic career I have been focusing on ecosystem services, even without contextualizing them as such. My proposal, therefore, will focus on the photographic presentation of ecosystem services in their complexity and beauty. I have written 180 pages of scientific text on the issues of ecosystem services and the economy, and would like my new project to be a book, maybe a two-volume set, with one volume focusing on the visual, pure photography, and the other one on theory. So I will quickly explore the main types of ecosystem services and some signifying images that have been created within past projects. So the first one relates to a very important ecosystem service of provision of water. Our bodies are composed of water, we cannot live without it, so this beautiful and very transparent lake in the German Alps is a very good illustration, an example of this. it's very important to make sure that the photographs stand out and are works of art in themselves rather than pure illustrations to the scientific concepts. So I will work on this. There will be a lot of work required in order to properly focus and edit the series that will be created within this project, so that I could present a very visually striking and evocative concept for a book. I'm aiming to use the language of photography to communicate the complexity of ecosystem services. And the work I will undertake in the following years will focus on all individual types, from water to food, fiber and pharmaceuticals, to biogeochemical cycles, water purification and waste treatment, oxygen generation, carbon sequestration, the energies of wind and falling water, tide and geothermal, but also soil formation and photosynthesis. Extremely important, pollination. There's a very good quote from Einstein, who said that by losing the pollinators, people only have about 4 years to sort out the issues, because pollinators are so incredibly important for the production of food on this planet. Water cycling, with water coming from the tops of the mountains, going down and then evaporating and coming back again. Air quality regulation. In very large cities, this is an extremely important problem, and a lot of cities are subject to severe air pollution from cars and energy production in the form of so-called particulate matter, and also CO and other types of poisonous gases. With water purification and waste treatment, we're dealing with a situation where currently about 260 million tons of plastic waste is situated in world's oceans. It's a grave danger and a call for action. A lot of it will need to be done in this area. But there is a lot of social and cultural aspects to ecosystem services. They, in a way, indirectly create new social relations through, for instance, musical performances that are using wooden instruments. Ecosystems have spiritual and religious values, as in this example of a beautiful Machapohari mountain in Nepal, in the Himalaya. It's associated with the god Shiva, and therefore all climbing is completely forbidden. Landscapes inspire artists to create new work. So I've chosen this view of Rio de Janeiro, which inspired me a lot to start painting. Ecosystems share with us some incredibly important aesthetic aspects, and we value them for other reasons than economic. For instance, in the UK, there is an association and a network of sites which are called Areas of Outstanding Natural Beauty, AONB. And finally, the sense of place. Ecosystems create absolutely unique environments where sense of place is very, very apparent. So, for instance, in this particular photograph, an old Roman mining site is photographed to convey the very special atmosphere that evolved there over the course of literally thousands of years. My images could be explored further on my Flickr blog. I have to add that I was inspired by the work of such photographers as Jan Arthus Bertrand, Edward Buczynski, and James Barlog. Thanks very much.